simultaneously with the staff and the student community. Melody and Susanna successfully applied for funds from Transform EDU to host an event that aims to reduce inequalities in the community. They also applied for a £3,000 donation to purchase inclusive print and e-books to enhance the library catalogue. And you can see today there's a selection of these books scattered around the room on the tables here and here. And the prints here are prints from the images from the e-books. So developing racial literacy is a process. It's a process that has been somewhat overlooked. Opening a space for discussion and individual learning by enriching the library catalogue of books on racism creates an environment where transformative learning can actually happen. So in order to build an inclusive university, we must develop a robust and rich library catalogue that offers reading materials from writers with diverse backgrounds across domains of gender, ethnicity, race, abilities, and geographical areas. The launch of the Inclusive Library Collection will mark the introduction of newly acquired collection of diverse materials, books, articles, into the library catalogue and give an opportunity to introduce this collection to the broader community. I would like to introduce a number of speakers that will speak to you today, and this will include Susanna, Melody, and the students that participated, and Philip, and going to be 18 from EDI, and the other welcome to Fanula and Lindsay, who are involved in this too, so thank you very much. And of course, Professor Fitzpatrick will officially launch it. So without further ado, I will invite Susanna up to give you some more information on the project. Thank you.
So, the Inclusive Library Collection is an outcome of the work of many activists and scholars around the globe to achieve greater equality and equity for all. It is built upon the work done by many of our colleagues across the campus, led by the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Directorate, and by the vision, aspirations and commitment to have an inclusive and anti-racist campus that supports everyone and is underpinned by the anti-racist strategy. The Inclusive Library Collection is influenced and supported by the work of our colleagues from the Rogerstown campus, Fiona Darby and Lindsay Dowling, and fueled by our own commitment to bring upon change here in Tallaght. We are committed to build spaces and platforms where diverse voices can be not only heard, but most importantly, listened to. We aspire to be the change we want to see. We want to give special thanks to Transform EDU and the Tallaght Library for financial support for this project, the Culinary Arts for the refreshment later on, and the Humanities Department for ongoing support and commitment to this work. And we are also grateful to all the students who engage in the Race Equality Reading Group and also in the diversifying and decolonizing of the curriculum through the Race Equality projects and the Building Multi-Story project. To document the impact, the focus on the use of diverse resources had on students and their learning, I would like to ask the fourth year Applied Social Care students to read their reflections on the use of diverse materials for their assignment in the Equality, Diversity and Intercultural Competencies modules. Please let me invite Chloe McCarthy, Dennis Lake via audio link because she has parenting responsibilities this morning. Children still get sick. Believe that's happening, such an important day. And also Adele Burke. So the last reflection will be read by me, as Sean Mahan has his work commitments, but he gave me permission to read his reflections. This is only a selection of the volume of reflections and really interesting pieces we gathered. We could have been actually much longer if we read all of them. So, Chloe, please.
Hi everyone. So, reflecting on myself as well as my personal use of diverse resources, I found that often I failed to pay attention to the finer details, such as the writer's ethnic group, skin colour, sex, age, or nationality. I have often focused on the academic readings that correlate to me and my personal life. and in hindsight, this is quite selfish and self-absorbed. Reflecting on the resources I found it hard to find some that are diverse, that are not written by the typical well-educated white man. Most academic resources that I did find were in fact written by the white middle-class people with a college education. The fact that I have never really thought about who or where the academic resources I use are from is a privilege in itself. I found that there is still a long way to go in regards to women's rights. However, some improvements have been made, and I am glad I can recognise them. Although I have faced many adverse reactions to my socio-economic background, and as testing and as harsh as they can be, it drives me to get to the places where I ought to be. Religion has had a bigger impact in my life than I expected it to, because of my upbringing. And I believe it still plays a major role in many people's lives, although it may be hidden for fear and judgment due to controversy the church has faced in recent years.
So let's pretend that this is here with us.
Hello, my name is Denise Lanes. I'm a fourth year social care student at TU Dublin Tallaght campus, and with thanks to Susanna and Melody, I would like to share with you a reflection I wrote on the new diverse reading material I was introduced to the Race Equality Reading Group. Prior to beginning the reading group, I was not aware of both privileges that I have, for example being white, and privileges that I do not have, being a woman. This module and readings have helped me understand the history of our past, for example the travelling community. With the new knowledge that I have now, I feel uncomfortable, and it makes me feel sad, as I grew up in a time where the message that was filtered down to us was that travellers were to be feared, not trusted, and that they had to conform and settle if they wanted to be part of the community. Only as an adult now, and through this module, do I now know the history of the travellers and how unfairly they were treated, and how their culture was and is not respected. Joyce 2018. By learning from this, I shared with my family to educate them about the truth of the travellers' history. I am feeling grateful that the diverse material I am engaging with continues to challenge my beliefs and helps me to align my values with the new information I am receiving and learning.
Hello everybody, my name is Adele, and reading from diverse resources has really impassioned me into learning more about myself, my whiteness and my hidden bias. Given my own family circumstances, I assumed I knew how people of colour felt when they experienced racial transgressions. However, I now understand that I will never know, as I am not dark-skinned, I am not black. Therefore, although I am inclined to experience a form of social and familial alienation, I can identify with the feelings of marginalisation and stigma, but never the feeling of being black. Black feminist reading has allowed me to understand that the white feminist struggle and black feminism differs, as the experience is completely different. White feminism can only theorise about the experiences of black women and women of colour through a lens of white privilege. Thank you.
And this is from Sean. This essay was interesting and challenging for me for numerous reasons, on being the focus on diverse resources. In previous essays, I wouldn't pay much attention towards the ethnicity or background of the authors of the sources I was using. Taking the time to do some extra research on this area was difficult but rewarding. I feel using these diverse resources and sources allow me to understand the perspective of the writers more, appreciating that their backgrounds contributed to what they are writing about. It also helped me to recognize the flaws in other sources and how the perspectives of predominantly white men in science and academia leads to certain ways of thinking and taking prevalence over others, and how different research might be flawed because other cultural and ethnic factors aren't considered. These diverse resources allow me to critically reflect and recognize on my own position and privileges in society and the wider world more than I ever would have if I hadn't used them. And I would now like to ask the lovely colleague Melody to say a few words.
So, I've always believed that the library is the heart of the university. We invite humanities, business, engineers, computer scientists, scientists in general, to all congregate here to be energized. This is where you will constantly receive life-transforming information which can be turned into knowledge that can benefit the multitude of a diverse humanity. Thank you. Aiden, who is our collections manager, is going to talk to us. Thanks, Melody.
As Melody says, I'm the head of collections for Library Services. Aiden O'Sullivan is my name, and I'm delighted to be here today. Thank you, Melody, for the invite. And I'm very proud that we have this really important collection in our libraries. And it is a pan-TU collection, it's not just in Tallaght. I recognise many of the titles here around behind me because we have a lot of them in Manchester as well. And I see my colleagues Fiona and Lindsay are here as well, and as you heard, they worked on the multi-stories project last year and taught classes and diversified the collection in Blanchardstown. So I suppose I believe that if we're serious about being a diverse university, we really need to embed EDI in all aspects of the university. And diversifying our library collection is one way that we can do this, and we will continue to add to this collection. It's really important that we do. And as we know, we've heard from the students that reading books, articles by authors from different backgrounds, ethnicities, on diverse topics really broadens the mind and changes your perspective. I'm currently reading this book, as it happens, and Neurotribes, The Legacy of Autism, and How to Think Smarter About People Who Think Differently. It's an absolutely fascinating book, and it's about neurodiversity. So, you know, we will continue to add to this collection. It's a really important one. So I would like to say, you know, well done to everybody, and we will keep up good work. Thank you.
The next speaker, please, Philip. Please.
Sorry, Philip, I was meant to say that.
Yes. Apologies. So that's okay. I managed.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'll just have to remove I'm using facial recognition on this just to be just to let you know that I'm here, although you can't see I don't have a hat, I'm here with 3 hats. One is that I'm representing the director of EDI, Professor Yvonne Galligan, who's given me the speech that I'm going to deliver to you today. It's very short. At the same time, I'm the coordinator of the Transform EDU project that we've had, that has had the benefit of sponsoring such a high-powered group. And then, of course, at the moment, I'm the assistant head of academic affairs in charge of our quality framework, and also doubling up at the moment in the transition period as the campus registrar of the Blanchardstown campus. So, just to go through Professor Galligan's speech, if you allow me. She says, this collection is the beginning of a journey towards diversifying our curriculum and our reading and reference material. Knowledge is not owned by one group, nor does it reside in the experience of a single group. Instead, our knowledge today in all fields rests on careful observation, analysis, experimentation, reflection of preceding generations from across the world. Our knowledge of mathematics and astronomy, for example, is inherited from the work of scholars in Mesopotamia in 3000 BC. Our biological knowledge rests on the observation of those who gathered the plant foods from earliest humankind. The disciplines of history traces its origin back to the 5th century Greek writer Herodotus. This collection is in that vein, acknowledging that knowledge is not monocultural, that reading and understanding different perspectives on a discipline are inherently part of creating new knowledge and creating a better knowledge. I send my sincere thanks and appreciation to Melody for her leadership, bringing this collection to us, the students and the scholars alike, and I hope this is the nucleus of a collection that provides diverse material for reading lists and research projects across the disciplines in the university. I personally look forward to perusing the catalogue. That's the end of her speech. Now, before I pass on to, before I invite the president, I presume. I have to be careful, I didn't want to make a mistake of not. Just indicate that from what I've seen, you normally tell the strength of a university and even the intentions of the vision by the type of group and associations that lead innovation. And we can't have asked for any stronger than having our president, Professor David Fitzpatrick, to open this session for us. Welcome, David. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. And probably more importantly, I'm maybe closing the session, which means if they don't have lunch, that's probably the most important thing. But it's a pleasure to be here, really is, and I was saying earlier, this is actually the first time I've been allowed inside the Tallaght Library, so I've never actually seen the space, and I don't know why they won't let me in, but it's a pleasure to be, and particularly to be able to be part of this launch. And I know people have mentioned it already, but personally I would really like to thank and recognise Susanna and Melody and Lindsay and Fanula for their engagement and commitment to leading this forward. You know, the creation of this collection is a really strong impetus and a recognition of what we want to achieve within the university. You know, within our strategic plan and within our structures, we have a significant commitment to equality, diversity and inclusion. And racial literacy and the development of it and putting in place the supports and the processes that let students and staff and everyone within our community really develop that awareness and knowledge is a core part of what we want to try and deliver. So I think, you know, at the university level we can put in grand plans and strategic plans and so on, but without people taking the initiative and actually doing something on the ground like this, those plans really are not worth very much. So a very heartfelt thanks from me to everybody who's been involved in this. I'd like to thank the students for sharing their reflections, and in coming to this event I was reflecting on it a little bit personally myself, and I realised I didn't have a lot of positive reflections to say, because, you know, if racial literacy is a process, then I'm quite far back down that chain, and there's a lot I need to learn and read and think about myself. I was, however, heartened when I came into the room and found this book, Invisible Women, which is one that I have actually read. And in part, the reason I read it was because my 10 or 15 years work in research was very much focused on medical device replacements and how actually we need to design them more appropriately for the global population. And if you go and look at hip replacement and knee replacement, which is my own expertise, the data sets that people were using historically were from 10 or 20 or 30 sized individuals who were typically North American, most probably white. And that drove the global industry for decades, until I started to look at it and looked at the range of issues relating to various due to ethnicity and gender in particular. And after many years' work and a huge amount of money, I am statistically able to prove that on average, women are smaller than men. We did find out a few more interesting things. But this book actually, for people like me who are coming at from that perspective, is really interesting. And Philip mentioned facial recognition. That brought to my memory also a program on Netflix called Coded Bias, which, if you have the opportunity to see it, I suggest you do. It's both interesting and scary, and it shows how, you know, not taking into account the global perspective when you're looking at designing new technologies can have very dramatic, and in the case of facial recognition, really powerfully negative consequences. So I think this is a fantastic initiative. I think the fact that it's pan-TU and that we have both physical and digital resources available means we can engage with it very strongly. And I really encourage, well, I'm preaching to the converted here, but I encourage the university to engage with this collection and to use it to good effect. So it's a pleasure to be with you all, and it's even better to be able to see people face to face. So thank you for arranging it today. Thank you very much. I'm not taking it with me.
Thank you, Professor Fitzpatrick. So, you know, it's safe to say, I think we can all agree, that today's launch, the work that's been done to date, having our president here today, and the launch of the Inclusive Collection has highlighted our commitment to build a university based on the principles of equality and diversity, and will allow the introduction of inclusive collection to the broader community. I think from here on in, this is part of the journey. What's been done already with Blanchardstown and the city and Fionnuala and Lindsay and Melody and Susanna is part of the process that will grow and grow and grow. And we hope that this is just a small piece in the future of the inclusive collection and building on it. As a graduate of Blanchardstown, Aideen was in the library when I was there, so I think I'm familiar with Blanchardstown as well. But I suppose to move in another stage to this, Susanna and Melody have been invited to the academic board in Tallaght to drive this message across all faculties, schools, disciplines. This is for everybody, it's for every programme, and we need to push it on. This is the start of it. And I see Leslie here from the Students' Union, and Leslie will get that up on the Students' Union social media pages, and we'll keep driving it through, you know. And finally, I just want to thank Professor Fitzpatrick, Aideen, Fionnuala and Lindsay, Susanna and Melody, and the students, because without your contribution, this couldn't happen. You know, it was really, you know, heartening listening to your experience and how you've learned. And, you know, university and college is about learning across the span. So you're learning your programme, you're ready for industry, but you're also enhancing your own knowledge. And that's what that's demonstrated, listening to your experience. So thank you so much for coming today and sharing your personal experience of being included in the collection and launching into the collection. And without further ado, I suppose I'll just finish my thanks, and I hate thanks because you always leave people out, but I suppose to thank Paul. Paul was a great drive person coming on board and helping us. Linda, yeah, I see Linda there. The library, all the library staff, building services help us set up the area, and Scholars Restaurant and the Department of Management and the Culinary Arts who've agreed kindly to offer us lunch and provide lunch for us today. Without further ado, thank you very much, and please join us in Scholars for lunch.
Thank you.